On today's show, we explore why noticing the little moments might just be the secret to living a more movie-worthy life. So grab your popcorn, get comfy, and silence your inner critic, because it's time to Movify your life with the little things. Welcome to the Movify Your Life show, the plot twist you've been waiting for. I'm your host, Jessica Grace Coleman, and through the Movify Your Life method, I'll show you how to step into the starring role of your story and create a life worth watching. Every Movify Monday, you'll learn how to turn everyday moments into unforgettable memories, activate your main character energy, and use cinematic tools to boldly chase your biggest dreams, like the movie star you truly are. Because when the credits roll, I want you to look back at your life like it's the greatest film ever made, full of meaning, magic, and most importantly, zero regrets. And because I truly believe everyone deserves to live an epic life fit for the big screen. So grab your popcorn, cue the music, and together, let's Movify your life.
Movify your life show begins. Lift your spirit, let joy rush in. Feel the magic in the roar. Step on stage and let's forward.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Movify Your Life show. I am your host, Jessica Grace Coleman, but you can call me Jess. I am Chief Movifier and Director of Movify Your Life and founder of Movify University. More on that soon. If you listened a few weeks ago, you'll know I released a bonus episode asking for priority list members to sign up to my Movify U membership. And I am currently in the middle of sorting all that out for the founding class. So if you are interested, you can go to movifyyourlife.com and click on the membership in the menu, because at the time of recording, I don't know what phase I'll be in, but even if you can't sign up to the founding class, you'll be able to register your interest for future Movify University intakes. So that's all very exciting. And before I get into today's episode subject matter. God, I think I need another cup of tea, guys. My brain isn't working. Anyway, before we get on to the episode main part, which is titled Don't Miss Your Happiness and Montage, Why the Small Moments Matter Most, I have to mention Jimothy. Yes, I'm sure most of you know who I'm talking about. Now, I record these podcast episodes weeks in advance, but at the time of recording, Jimothy is at the height of his fame, and I hope he still will be when this gets released. He is that lovely little cute raccoon in Seattle who has the spinal issue, so he looks kind of a bit squashed, but everyone has fallen in love with him. The internet has fallen in love with him, and I just wanted to mention it because I love stuff like this. I love stuff that brings like the entire world together. Like this little raccoon wandering around a neighborhood in Seattle has like found his way into the hearts of people all over the world. It happened with Punch the monkey as well. It happens with lots of things. But I honestly think we need more stuff like this in our lives. Jimothy is bringing people together. He's bringing joy and happiness to people all over the world, as I say. And I love the fact that he's this little raccoon. He has no idea how much of an internet celebrity he is, how loved he is all over the world. And there's something quite special about that. I've been sending memes and videos to my friends about Jimothy. I've been receiving them from people as well. I've joined a Cult of Jimothy Facebook group where like people are posting all the amazing Jimothy merch and artwork they're creating. People are having like Jimothy like artwork competitions and exhibitions. People are doing their nails with Jimothy on. They're crocheting little Jimothys, they're cross-stitching, they're painting him, Saint Jimothy, Jimothy for president. People are getting Jimothy tattoos. Like, it's this whole thing. And I love it. I love how it's bringing people together. I love how it's like bringing a smile to people's faces. And hopefully long live Jimothy, although I know raccoons in the wild don't live super long, and with his condition, he might not. But let's be positive. He's going to be fine. We all love Jimothy. And I just wanted to, mention that first, because it's stuff like this that makes life feel a little bit more magical. And that brings me on to today's topic, which, as I said, is Don't Miss Your Happiness Montage, Why the Small Moments Matter Most. And basically, if you've ever watched like a really good film, you'll know there are certain scenes or montages that stay with you forever. And they're not always the huge action sequences or the dramatic plot twists. They might be a smaller moment. Maybe it's a sort of extended scene where the hero is driving in their car with the windows down, the wind blowing in their hair, the favorite songs playing, they're singing along, and it's just like captivating, even though nothing really is happening. Maybe it's friends sitting around a campfire, laughing, toasting marshmallows and s'mores, and nothing much is happening, but it just feels cozy. And maybe you've done that with your own friends and it just brings back memories. Maybe it's someone walking through their hometown at sunset with like an epic song playing, or a dog bounding happily through a field, just like the little moments that don't really move the plot forward all that much, but they somehow become either the heart of the story or like lots of little heartbeats dotted throughout the film. And like I say, maybe these are put together in a montage to show passing of time, someone's day, a series of seemingly ordinary moments stitched together, usually with like beautiful music playing underneath, like a smile, a sunset, coffee with a friend, a walk through the park, a train journey, commute, a stranger helping someone. Like none of those moments would necessarily make headlines on their own, but put them together and suddenly they're really moving. And the neighbour's dog was just barking. I don't know if you can hear that, but carry on anyway. And I think like real life works the same way. Like these moments remind us that life isn't just about the destination. It's about everything that happens along the way. It's the journey. Cliche, cheesy, I know, but it's true. And yeah, I think it mirrors real life, as movies often do, and vice versa. We're often waiting for the next big thing, the holiday we've booked, the promotion we're working towards, or the business, or the big career move, the house move, the relationship, the next chapter. We tell ourselves we'll feel happier when we get there. But in doing so, we risk overlooking the hundreds of tiny moments happening every single day that actually make life feel rich, colourful, and meaningful. And unless you're actively trying to look out for them, they may pass you by. And the idea for this episode came from one very short 10-minute car ride and a bit after it I took the other day where quite a few things happened. Well, it was a car ride on the way to somewhere, the event, and then me driving back as well. Lots of little things happened that made me smile or made me feel good. And I thought, God, how many times do things like this happen to me and I just don't either see them, notice them, or appreciate them? Maybe because I'm in a mood, or like I'm too busy worrying about something or thinking about something else. But on this particular day, I was in a good mood and I noticed all these things. And I just thought, if this were a film, all these little scenes on their own wouldn't mean much. But if you put them together into a happiness montage with epic music playing, and a lot of this happened while epic music was playing because I was in my car listening to music, then they suddenly become like really magical. And I think we're surrounded by magic far more often than we realize. We just have to start noticing it. So when was this? What happened to me? Well, it was a Monday. It was a normal Monday evening in the middle of the country in Staffordshire. Anyway, and every Monday night, or most Monday nights, I go line dancing. I know people would be like, oh my God, some of them, but it's becoming a big thing again. I think it was a big thing in the 90s, maybe the noughties, I'm not sure. And I did kind of do it a bit as a kid, I think. I remember them making us do it at school as part of PE or something. But I'm really into country music. And I met this lady at a business networking event and she asked if I wanted to go line dancing with her. And I was immediately like, yes, because I had actually been looking for a class. I just hadn't made myself go yet because I thought I'd end up going on my own. So when she said, shall we try it? I was like, yes. We went to a class near us first and it was a shambles. We were terrible because it wasn't really a beginner's class. They weren't really teaching you. You just kind of they threw you in the deep end and you were just trying to keep up with everyone else. And it was a mess, hot mess. The instructor was great and it was like a nice group of people, but we were like, we've just got to take a step back and find a more beginner's class. And luckily someone recommended one to her not far away and we started going there and it's brilliant. There's loads of people that go, you feel good, you get a lot of steps in, burn a lot of calories. I love country music. A lot of it is to country music. Some of it's to like pop music and rock music. And it's just really fun. And like, I'm still pretty bad, but I'm not as terrible as I was. And yeah, I really love it. But anyway, it's about 10 minutes drive from my house. So I started driving and first of all, I saw a kid on a bridge with, I assume, their dad. with an adult, and the kid was like waving at all the cars. He was quite high up, so maybe a lot of the cars didn't see him. But he was waving down and like smiling, and the dad was waving as well, and he was obviously trying to get drivers to wave back. So I did. And the look on his face when I waved back, like he was, I don't know how old he was, like 4 or 5 or something. His like whole face lit up. He was like punching the air, dancing, so happy. And his dad looked really happy as well that someone had waved back for his kid. I was just like, well, isn't that lovely? That's lovely. And it reminded me of a time when I was in London, walking along South Bank on my own. I think I was on the way to meet someone, but I was on my own at the time. And these group of, I think it was a group of guys and girls walked past. And one of them said, I'm giving away free hugs. Do you want one? And it's not as creepy as it sounds. And I was a lot younger, and less wary, I guess. But they looked fine. And I was like, okay. And then like I hugged one of them and they went batshit crazy. They were like, yes, we've got a hugger. And like we were like having a little dance on the street, and it was like 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds interaction. But it just gave me a real boost. I was like, there are nice people in the world, you know, giving out free hugs. And I wouldn't recommend, you know, just going up and hugging strangers, because there are some, you know, not so nice people out there, obviously. But I was a lot younger then. And it was that same kind of feeling. Like when I waved at the kid, I was like, oh, it's like a human connection with someone you don't know. You'll never meet again. I didn't even talk to the kid. Like I just saw him up on a bridge. I was just like, well, isn't that lovely? Also, just before I got to the line dancing place, there's a big roundabout. And on the roundabout were these big signs for this guy, James, I believe his name is. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong. But he spent 86 days dribbling a football from Africa to Rugeley, where he lives or where he's from. I go line dancing. And I've been following him on social media. I donated to him. He was raising money for like a hospice that looked after his dad before he passed away. And yeah, he was just constantly dribbling a football. I think it was Morocco or somewhere. Like he started and then came back through France and stuff, and then came to England. And wow, it was just crazy. I knew there was going to be a big homecoming event for him. Sadly, I was away when it actually happened. I was visiting my friend in Norwich, but I saw the big signs on the roundabout for his homecoming and the details to go and cheer him on as he got back. And I was just like, well, isn't that lovely? This guy doing this incredible challenge for charity in memory of his dad, and the whole community was coming together to welcome him home. And that made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside as well. I did donate to him as well, because I just think this is just incredible. And then I got to the line dancing place and I went into the little foyer and I was waiting for my friend. And we've been going for a few months, not every week, but 2 or 3 months. I still feel kind of like newbies. The whole class only started in March, so it's not like it's been established for years or anything, but I still felt, you know, very much like a new person. And as I was standing there waiting for my friend, loads of people came in on their way in and said hi to me and smiled, and they knew I was, you know, part of the class, because there were other stuff going on in the building as well. And I was just like, oh. And then my friend joined me and we went upstairs and we went to sign in. We usually have to give our names to the instructor's granddaughter who does all the like admin. And she wrote down our names straight away. She knows who we are now. And it was just like, oh, like a feeling of belonging, like we've been coming long enough that people know us. And just, you know, it's a very simple thing, but it was very lovely. And I was still feeling very lovely after the kid waving at me and me waving back and seeing the sign for the guy coming back from Africa, dribbling the football, and people saying hi to me. And I was just like, oh, nice. And I was also in a good mood because, oh wait, I'm getting my days mixed up here. 1 week I was waiting for my friend and loads of people came in and said hi. And the next week I met my friend in the car park and there was this epic dog. There's this woman driving this really cool convertible car with the top down. It was like during the heat wave. And there was this dog sitting in the back, like a big golden retriever or something. I can't remember. Just sitting in the back, cruising as she was like driving through the car park. And then she stopped and I got out my car and I was like, oh my God, that dog's so cool. And then my friend came, parked next to me, got out and went, oh my God, look at that dog in the convertible. And it was just like, you know, sharing a nice moment of, isn't that dog cool? And it was a very cool dog, but that was fun.
Okay, movie star, real talk. Are you tired of feeling like a background extra in your own life? Then it's time to step into the spotlight and activate your main character era. And I've got just the thing to help you do it. Grab my free Movie Star Alter Ego Starter Kit, your behind-the-scenes pass to creating the bold, brave, action-taking version of you who goes after their dreams like the star of a blockbuster. Inside, you'll discover how to design your alter ego, choose your transformational item, pick your theme song, and build the rituals and confidence cues you need to start living your life like the epic movie it was meant to be. So, if you're ready to rewrite your script, roll camera, and finally take the lead, head to movifyyourlife.com/free to download your free starter kit now. That's movifyyourlife.com/free. Your next scene starts today. And now, let's get back to the action.
And then we had the class, and then I drove back, and the sun was setting as I was driving back, which is always lovely because I'm often, inside when the sun is setting. And I had the music blasting. And then when I got back to my village, I was driving past the church, which is opposite the primary school I went to when I was primary school age. And so it was the church we used to go to. It was a Church of England school. So we would go to the church for events and harvest festivals and things like that. And I was christened there as well, actually. I'm not super religious, but it was just a thing in our villages that you got christened when you were younger. And it's a lovely church, like lovely old, just, typically British church. And I was driving past the church with the music blasting, sun setting in the distance, and a bird flew like directly overhead and kind of like followed my car for a bit and then flew off. And I was like, well, isn't that lovely? Another time I was also driving through the village, I think probably on the way back from my line dancing class again. And I had the windows open because it was boiling, and a pigeon nearly flew into my window. It sort of was coming towards me, and I was like, hello, pigeon friend. And then it suddenly, like, it occurred to both of us, I think, at the same time, that it was about to crash into my window and into my head. And it managed to veer off course, like change course at the last second. And I was like, ah. So that was a bit more of a dramatic moment involving a bird, but that was lovely. And then just before I got back to my house, I saw a guy walking his dog, a little dog, and the dog was carrying a stick like 3 times the size of the dog, which always makes me laugh. So that I was just like, that's nice. Another day I was sitting in my Movify HQ, which I've talked about on this podcast before, sort of shed outside some house that I've made into my creative space, or I might have been sitting outside because it might have been too hot. It's basically like a greenhouse in the summer. And I was working, but there was like just so much like wildlife going on. There was like little squirrels who live in our trees were like bounding across the grass. I think I was inside the summer house because I remember little feet tip-tapping on the roof of the summer house, like a little bird tip-tapping along. I've heard that before and gone out to see it, and then the birds looked at me like, oh shit, and flown off, usually like a blackbird. We've got new neighbours up the road. I think they've got a new cat. Well, the cat has appeared from somewhere, and the cat strolled through, and I was like, oh, cute. And then a bunny like hopped along the garden, and I was like, oh my God, adorable. Like, this is what living in the countryside is all about. You often see them in the fields near our house. And a bunny just like hopped past, and I was like, oh, isn't that lovely? Things like community events as well. I've gone to a few recently, and you just feel like a sense of like cozy belonging, knowing that this is your community and you're supporting local events, local artists, local committees. And it's just a nice feeling, like those kind of things. Oh, breaking news, by the way, our village has a new barber shop, which I'm a bit annoyed by because it used to be my hairdresser's and she's moved away, so I can't go there anymore. Yeah, barbershop moved in, and they put up like this sign, which was like really black, bold, kind of rocky vibes, like it was made with AI kind of sign, like that, the kind of thing. And oh my God, the village, they were not happy. They thought it was a money laundering front for ages, but I think we've established that it's not. You can pay by card for one thing. The sign really pissed people off. And if you have any like local Facebook groups, like for your village or town or community or your estate or wherever, and you know the kind of thing I mean, like the kind of posts that get posted on there, it made me laugh because one person lots of people posted about it. One person posted about the sign in particular, saying, it's not really in keeping with the village, like the village aesthetic, is it? And it just reminded me of Hot Fuzz. It was like a direct quote from Hot Fuzz, basically. And I say this because those little things, it's just the little things like that make you laugh. Like you read this, someone who's really angry, but all you can think about is Hot Fuzz and how they were really pissed off when anything happened to destroy the village vibe. So it's like little things like that make me laugh, make me smile. And real breaking news now. Like this is really, really breaking news, important stuff. So we have a parish newsletter for the 3 villages. I think it's 3 villages and like a little extra bit we have nearby. And guys, there was a whole full page spread news article on a lamppost. Oh yes. It was just so quaint and British, going on about this lamppost that was brought in the 60s or something. And then they tried to take away the lamppost, to like ditch it, to throw it away. And one local man was, and I quote, incandescent with rage at the thought of them ditching, like binning this lamppost. They literally used the words incandescent with rage. And I was like, wow, I don't think I've ever been incandescent with rage about anything like in my entire life. And this guy like is just so angry about this lamppost. Like, it just made me laugh. It's like really funny, fun, quaint, endearing things like that. And if you live in a local village, especially, I took a picture of the article. I sent it to loads of my friends. I was like, look, this lamppost got a whole page spread in the newsletter. And I know for a fact there have been community events recently that have been really great. And these events weren't mentioned in it at all. I don't know if they didn't hit the publishing deadline or what, but they got no airtime at all. But this lamppost got a whole page spread. And then I read the rest of the article and saw that it had moved. So actually, the next time I came back from my line dancing, I made sure to specifically drive up the road where I knew the lamppost was. And I actually pulled over and I took a picture like it was a celebrity. And I sent it to my friends who I sent the article to. And I was like, this whole thing is ridiculous, but I love it. It's these little things that make life fun and silly and endearing, and the little things like that I want you to look out for more. It could be a sunset. It could be someone smiling at you. It could be someone waving at you and wanting a wave back. It can be seeing a really cool dog in the back of a convertible. Like, seriously, the dog may as well have been wearing like aviator shades. It just looked so cool. Maybe it's going to an event, a community event, or going to a weekly class and people knowing your name. That's very Cheers, isn't it? Where everyone knows your name. Or maybe it's going onto your local Facebook group and seeing people incandescent with rage over things that are really not that important, but it's quite endearing. So this week's Movify mission is called Build Your Happiness Montage. And I want you to, over the next 7 days, become the editor of your own feel-good movie. And I don't mean literally, so don't worry. But as you go about your normal life, keep an eye out for those little moments. The little moments that make you smile, make you feel good, make you go, oh, isn't that lovely? They don't need to be extraordinary, expensive, or Instagram worthy. In fact, the more ordinary they are, the better. As I've said, maybe someone smiles at you as you walk past. Maybe your favourite song comes on the radio at exactly the right moment when you need to hear it. Maybe you notice a spectacular sunset on your drive home, or see a tiny dog proudly carrying a stick that's 3 times bigger than it is. Maybe you have a conversation that makes you laugh, or you're reminiscing with friends over a memory that brings tears to your eyes, either like sad tears or just happy tears. I did that last weekend when I visited my friend and was telling her a story about when me and my friend Ruth and Vicky were on a beach in Wales and it was quite wet. I mean, I guess beaches are wet anyway because you have the sea, but you know what I mean. The sand was all wet and everything. And this collie, I think it was a collie dog, ran up to us, absolutely soaking wet, obviously been in the water. I thought it was going to do the thing where it shakes its coat and like drowns us all in water. But no, instead it barged its way in between my friend Ruth's legs. She was wearing jeans and proceeded to dry itself on her legs by going back and forward, back and forward. It did that for a while and then it looked at her as if to say, ha, and then it ran off. And then the owner did come eventually and went, I'm so sorry. She was a bit far further behind on the beach. But it was just one of those moments. It was so unexpected. It was so random. I was expecting the dog to shake, but instead it did this weird thing where it dried itself off in between my friend's legs. And me and my friend Ruth, we laughed until we cried. It's just one of those moments that you can't make up and it just makes you feel so good. And every time you remember it as well, you just start laughing, which is what I did at the weekend. But yeah, maybe your morning coffee tastes especially good and you take a moment to just be like, that's really nice. Or maybe you spot a squirrel or a bunny or a cat darting across the garden while you're working and think, oh. You don't have to photograph these moments or post them online unless you want to. The important thing is simply to notice them. Pause for a second and imagine that if someone were making a film about your life, this little moment would become another clip in the montage with uplifting music playing over the top. And it may seem small, but when you take these things and put them all together, they make up a pretty good day or a pretty good week or however long you do it for. And as I say, 7 days, the next 7 days, I want you to do this. And by the end of the week, I'm sure you'll have collected dozens of these tiny scenes, maybe more. And like I say, individually, they may not seem like much, although, some of these moments can make you feel great for hours afterwards. But together they'll tell the story of a life that's richer, warmer, and happier than you perhaps realized while you were living it. I think that's quite common. And like I say, I think one of the biggest myths we believe is that a movie-worthy life has to be extraordinary every single day. That unless we're traveling somewhere incredible, ticking off a bucket list item, or achieving something huge, life is somehow on pause. And films don't work like that, and neither does real life. Although I do also encourage you to go and do the big movie-worthy scenes as well. Your happiness isn't waiting somewhere vague in the future. It's weaving itself through your everyday life, often disguised as things that seem too ordinary to matter. So this week, don't just rush from one task to the next. I know it's easy to do, especially when you're used to doing it, but slow down every now and then. Look up. There might be a kid on a bridge waving at you. Look around. There might be a super cool dog in a convertible. And start collecting your scenes. Because no, one little moment probably is not going to change your life, but it can change your day. It can change your perspective. It can change your mood. And hundreds of them collected over weeks, months, and years is what creates a life that feels joyful, meaningful, and yes, movie-worthy. So I think that's one of the easiest ways you can movify your life. I always talk about going out and making things happen, but it's just as important to notice the things that are happening to you, even the little things. Well, that's it. That's all I've got to say today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you know of someone you think would enjoy this, please share the episode with them and ask them to follow or subscribe, whatever it's called, on the platform of your choice. I want to share the Movify mission far and wide. I want to get a global community of epic people doing epic things in my Movify University. And all hail King Jimothy. Thank you. Until next week, I'll see you on the red carpet.
Thank you so much for listening to the Movify Your Life show. Before you go, don't forget to sign up for the main character memo mailing list at movifyyourlife.com/list for exclusive tips, treats, and behind-the-scenes magic. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could please subscribe, leave a review, or share this podcast with a friend. Let's spread that Movify message far and wide, because everyone deserves to live an epic life fit for the big screen. I'll see you next week for another Movify Monday. Until then, that's a wrap.